Hello po sa lahat. Ipagpapatuloy po natin ang ating pagsisimula ng pag-aaral, History of Acupuncture. So what is acupuncture? Acupuncture is a method of encouraging the body to promote natural healing and to improve functioning. So this is done by inserting needles and applying heat or electrical stimulation at very precise acupuncture points. So what is traditional acupuncture? Traditional acupuncture is a healthcare system based on ancient principles which go back nearly 2,000 years. It has a very positive model of good health and function and looks at pain and illness as a sign that the body is out of balance. So pag yung yin and yang ay balance po, yun yung maganda po yung situation ng ating health, no disease. The overall aim of acupuncture treatment then is to restore the body's equilibrium. So, ibig sabihin po yun yung body equilibrium, yung balance po ng heat and cold or yin and yang sa ating body. Yun po yung ginagawa pag tayo nag-acupuncture. So, traditional acupuncture is a branch of traditional Chinese medicine. So, nagsimula po ito sa China. A tried and tested healthcare system that has been practiced by 4,000 of years in China and the Far East. Ito po yung mga ginagamit mga Chinese dun sa kanilang bansa noong unang panahon pa man. It has been developed, tested, researched, and refined over centuries to give us a complex and detailed understanding of the body's energetic balance. So, nung unang panahon pa po, yung mga manggagamot dun sa China, yung mga Chinese doctors, ang ginagamit na po nila noon ay acupuncture. Sa pagdaloy po ng panahon, dahil sa mga karanasan, napakayaman nilang karanasan, ito po ay mas na-develop pa. The first known book of Chinese medicine, the Classical of Internal Medicine of Yellow Emperor. Kasi ito po yung malaki ang naiambag sa acupuncture. Ito pong Yellow Emperor, ito yung panahon ng mga nagahari pa yung mga dynasty. So, dates back to between the 1st century before Christ and the 1st century after that AD. All style of acupuncture currently practiced around the world trace their roots back to this text. Ayan po, nakikita natin yung mga drawing. Yung iba nga nasa bato pa yan nakaukit. So, yung mga old na libro, yun po yung mga pinanggalingan nitong history. Without the help of modern scientific equipment, ancient Chinese scholars discovered many now familiar aspects of biomedical science, such as the effect of emotional stress on the immune system. Traditional acupuncturists are no less scientific or sophisticated than Western clinicians in their understanding of how the bodies function. So yun yung mga acupuncturists po, basta't alam nila yung emotion ng tao, nakikita na nila ano yung sakit. Although, to this day, they use terminology that reflects Chinese medicine's cultural and historic origins. Sa China po, during the early part of 20th century, traditional medicine fell out of fashion as symptomatic healthcare. Treatment were imported from West along with other cultural influences. Kasi nga nung natuklasan na po yung Western medicine, parang unti-unti na rin nilang binawalang bahala yung TCM. Calls by Western trained doctor to ban traditional Chinese medicine were rejected by National Medical Assembly and Shanghai on 17 March 1929. So this day is still celebrated every year as Chinese Doctors' Day. So traditional Chinese medicine remained in the shadow of Western medicine until the Long March of 1939. So without drug, anesthetics, or surgery, vast number of sick and wounded soldiers faced death until doctors of traditional Chinese medicine achieved amazing results using acupuncture and other traditional method of treatment. Yun, napatutuhanan po na Yun, sa pamamagitan lang ng acupuncture, talaga nakakabuhay ito ng tao. So from this point, traditional Chinese medicine and Western medicine were practiced by side in China. So kinumbay na po nila yun. All branches of TCM were nurtured and encouraged to grow. Noong 1978 po, yung lahat ng hospital at saka research departments were devoted to practice of TCM. Dahil nga doon sa karanasan nila na kahit walang doktor, kahit walang mga operation, kayang makaligtas ng buhay ng tao. Kaya inadapt uli po ng China yon. So, parallel pong ginagamit nila ngayon ang TCM plus yung modern medicine. Today, traditional acupuncture is practiced all around the world and clinical trials are now confirming its efficacy. More and more people are able to benefit as traditional acupuncture become a recognized option within standard healthcare. So hindi lang po yung Chinese ngayon ang gumagamit buong mundo na. Kasi nga napatunayan na ang pag-acupuncture ay nakakapagbalanse uli ng lakas ng tao, ng chi at ng blood. Yun po yung napatunayan sa mga karanasan. So thank you po.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Mildred Digma, certified acupuncturist from Apayao. Next, we go to history of TCM. And let's listen all the way from Rizal, Ma'am Teresita Sumile.
Good afternoon po, everyone. History of Chinese medicine and the 4 classics. Several perspectives. History based on ancient mythology of Chinese medicine, deducted from the study of ancient texts and records. Archaeological evidence and textual materials produce extravagant interpretations which sought to establish the ancient character of certain Chinese medical practices. The birth of medicine attributed to the legendary emperors Fuzi, Shen, Nong, and Huangdi. Legendary and semi-mythical origins. Mythically linked to the 3 emperors. Fuzi Ox Tamer, ca. 2953 BC. He taught people how to domesticate animals and defined the bagua, which are 8 symbols that became the basis for the Yi or Book of Changes. Shennong, divine husbandman or fire emperor, 2008-38 to 2006-98 BC, considered the founder of agriculture and the originator of herbal medicine in China, taught plant cultivation, livestock raising, and learned the therapeutic properties of herbs and substances through taste. Huangdi, who is the Yellow Emperor, 2698 to 2598 BC. He is considered the traditional Chinese medicine originator and the father of the Chinese nation. He taught the Chinese how to make wooden houses, silk cloth, boats, arts, the bow and arrow, ceramics, and introduced the art of writing. According to legend, he attained these skills through visitations with immortals. Today's version of TCM is first expressed in his work, Yellow Emperor's Inner Classic, which is divided into 2 books. The first compiled around 200 to 100 BC and is critical to Chinese medicine legend and practice, consisted of 2 books. The Simple Questions, concerned with medical theories such as Yin-Yang principles, the 5 phases, and the effects of seasons. Then the Spiritual Access deals mostly with acupuncture and moxibustion. Texts are mostly dialogue between the emperor and his ministers. Shibo was the most famous minister of his role in curing sickness, testing drugs, and writing books on medicine and therapeutics. Shibo explains the orderly life of times past. Ancient medicine, 2205 to 206 BC, is little known about Chinese medical practice before 200 BC. Shang Dynasty, 1766 to 1121 BC, is the first dynasty having clear archaeological evidence documented by the succeeding dynasty showing some form of therapeutic activity in response to illness. Develops the first scripts, defines social relationships such as the king, his nobility, and the people who were no longer nomadic. Developed central Chinese culture ideas such as the relationship between the living and the dead, the ritualized reverence of ancestors, and oracle bone used to consult ancestors for advice on many issues, including illness treatment. Now let's go to Zhou Dynasty. It became one of the longest dynasties, caused by political conflict with Chinese-speaking descendants of the Shang. It established a pattern of governance that would characterize Chinese society, a central government working in relation to smaller principalities. Continued the tortoise-shell oracle practices of the Shang rulers with the aid of the Wu. Shaman acted as an intermediary between the living and the dead, participated in ritual court activities, weather activities, and combated illness, causing demons. The emergence of acupuncture may have been the result of the shaman practice of chasing evil spirits out of towns and homes with spears, in addition to the 5th century AD healing techniques of the physician Bian Xie. Yun lang po. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Teresita. Next, we go to Yin-Yang principles. Yin and Yang theory forms the basis of the Chinese system of thought, and it can be transferred into all areas of the universe. It is applicable onto nature, onto physiological and pathological processes within human beings. The mission is to live in harmony with nature. So when you say to live in harmony with nature, it means to live according to the principles of yin and yang. So if you do not live according to the principles of yin and yang, then there will be disharmony. And this will give you organ imbalance. Nothing is absolutely yin or absolutely yang. As you can see from the symbol, in every yin exists yang, and in every yang exists yin. The yin and yang theory allows deep understanding of the physiological and pathological mechanism in the human organism. So because of this, we are able to understand the illnesses and the course of an illness. This understanding is the prerequisite for an accurate treatment. Now let's go to the opposition of yin and yang, rest and movement. Resting belongs to yin, movement belongs to yang. A calm human being is yin, in contrast to a restless human being who is considered to be yang. Passive behavior is yin, in contrast to active behavior, which is yang. Quietness or low sounds are yin, in contrast to loud sounds, which belong to yang. A low voice corresponds to yin, and a loud voice corresponds to yang. Earth is yin, in contrast to heaven, which is yang. Illness that manifests in the upper body pertains to yang, in contrast to illness that manifests in the lower body, which is yin. Clinically, wind or heat diseases in the upper body. If cold manifests in the upper body, then it is a yin disease. Dark night is yin, in contrast to bright day, which is yang. Dark urine is a symptom of yin deficiency. Light or bright colored urine can be a symptom of yang deficiency. Cold climate pertains to yin, in contrast to hot climate, which is yang. In coldness, yin dominates, so that yang is not able to warm the body any longer. In heat, yang dominates, so that the yin is not able to cool the body any longer. Yin represents body fluids. Dampness corresponds to accumulation of cloudy fluids, which corresponds to yin disease. And yin disease is caused by underlying yang deficiency. In dryness, body fluids are consumed, which corresponds to yin deficiency. Manifestation, which is the more dense state of aggregation, corresponds to yin, in contrast to energy, the subtle state of aggregation, which is yang. Blood is more substantial than qi. Therefore, blood is yin and qi is yang. Quality of yin is contraction. For example, when it is cold, while the quality of yang is expansion. For example, when there is heat. Thank you very much for listening. Let's now proceed to the next topic. And let's call once again Ma'am Mildred Digma for discussion of the 5 elements. Good afternoon, Ma'am Mildred.
Good afternoon po muli. 5 elements. Ating pong topic. In TCM, 5 elements or 5 phases theory outlines relationship between different elements in nature and life force or chi that flows through them. The basic elements are wood, fire, earth, metal, water. So each individual is a blend of these elements. In order to be truly healthy, they need to be balanced. So kailangan daw po lahat yung elements na yun ay balance. Kahit naman po ang nature, di ba? Dapat yung wood, mayroon tayong kabundukan, meron tayo yung para yung mundo maayos din, yung ating tubig para hindi na-wash out yung mundo pag maayos ang ating mga puno. Understanding how the 5 elements affect one's health can help the doctor develop a comprehensive and effective treatment plan to eliminate chronic conditions. So, relationship to health. In this conceptual system, the 5 elements are constantly moving and changing. It's becoming dominant at different times in the natural cycle and affecting an individual's health. The 5 elements are used to interpret and explain physiology and pathology. Each element is associated with different body organs, colors, flavors, senses, emotions, and weathers. So, ito po yung wood. Sa body organ po natin ay ang liver and gallbladder, partner organ po niya. So, sila po yung namamahala sa tendons and eyes. Ang color po ay green. Ito pong green na to related din dun sa food nitong ating organ. Then, ang emotion ay anger. So, ito rin po yung nakaka-affect sa organ na liver and gallbladder. Kaya kung sobrang nagagalit, lahat pong exist ay maapektuhan ang function ng liver and gallbladder. So, yung sour, yung flavor po ay sour. Ito yung food na itong organ na to, yung mga sour. Pero pag exist po, siya din yung maapektuhan. So, yung weather po ay wind. So, wind din po siya. Ito rin po yung madaling ito yung organ din na madalas nagkakaroon ng wind. Dahil ito yung kanyang weather. Next po is fire. So, fire po ay sa body organ ay ang heart. Then, responsible po siya sa tongue at sa ating pulse. So, yung color po ay red. So, nire-relate po natin yung mga color na yan, lalo pa sa ng food. Ang emotion po niya ay joy. So, flavor po ay bitter. Kaya yung hindi mga kumakain ng mga ampalaya, ang pangunahing naapektuhan na ay heart. Then, ang weather po ay heat. So, ayaw din po niya yung sobrang init. Siya din yung unang nagkakaroon ng disease pag sobrang init. Next is earth. So, body organ ay ang spleen and stomach. Siya po yung responsible sa ating mouth and muscles. Ang color po niya ay yellow. So, emotion is pensive. So, too much thinking na apektuhan po nagkakaroon ng disease ang spleen and stomach. Ang flavor po ay sweet. So, ito yung pagkain ng organ na yan. Weather is damp. Prone po siya sa damp. Kaya kung marami yung damp environment, siya din po yung pangunahing naaapektuhan. Next is metal. So, body organs is lungs. Responsible for our nose and skin. So, the color is white. Emotion is sadness. Kaya kung sobra kang nalulungkot, tinatanong natin sa ating pasyente, agad na po niyong isasama ang organ na lungs kung siya ay malungkutin. Then the flavor is pungent. Kaya 'di ba pag may mga parang nagsisipon, sasabihin ng mga matatanda, "No, kumain ka ng luya kasi pagkain niya ng baga." So from sa experience mo ng mga matatanda noon pa, ay talagang pagkain na ng baga ang mga pungent. Then weather is dry. So siya din po yung nagkakaroon ng disease kung ang environment mo ay sobrang dry. Next is water. So the body organs is kidney. Responsible for our ears and bones. Ito po tinatandaan to ha. Kasi pag yung mga pasyente natin, related ang kanilang mga diseases sa ears and bones, so kidney na po talaga yung tututukan natin. Then the color is black. Emotion is fear. Kaya sobrang natatakot. Pag tinanong yung pasyente yung kung sobra siyang natatakot, ano na po ninyo ang kidney niya? Kailangan na ninyong i-acupuncture. Then, flavor is salty. Kaya sobrang kumakain ng maalat, pangunahing naapektuhan ay ang kidney. Then, weather is cold. Sobrang malamig na panahon, ang unang humihina ay kidney. Thank you po.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Mildred. Let's proceed to vital substances featuring Qi. And let's listen to Ma'am Teresita Sumile once again. Good afternoon, Ma'am Teresita ulit.
Good afternoon po ulit, Dr. Hector and classmates. Types of Qi. 5 vital substances are the Qi, Jing, Sui, Shen, and Yin-Yang. Now we will take up first Qi, which is our life force. It is the most basic of the fundamental substances. It flows through Jing-Lu meridians corresponding to particular points on the body. Energy is all-permeating and controls every living being, inanimate object, and phenomenon. Energy is necessary for change, for sensory functions, for reproduction, for birth, growth, and death cycle. Okay? Qi blood body fluids are fundamental substances that maintain normal vital activities of the body. Our total energy in our present life is called vital energy. When not used for function, it is stored by kidneys in a form of vital essence. So, ang vital energy ay siya yung total energy sa katawan natin. Kung moderate lang ang daily activities natin every day, yung unused vital energy natin will be stored by the kidneys in the form of vital essence. So, yun po ang kaibahan sa vital energy at vital essence. Okay po? Now we have two sources of vital energy, which are the congenital energy and the acquired energy. Congenital energy, also called Q1 or ancestral energy. This is the source of energy we are born with, inherited from our parents, and acquired energy. This is the energy we acquire after birth, throughout our life from our food, air, rest, and the environment. Okay? Now we have two basic types of qi, pre-heaven or ancestral qi, and the post-heaven or acquired qi. Now, for the sake of the new students, yung pre-heaven qi ay same lang po yon sa congenital energy. They are both called the ancestral energy na minamana natin sa ating mga magulang. Ang post-heaven qi naman ay at ang acquired energy ay same lang din po. So don't be confused, okay? Now, pre-heaven ancestral qi is the qi that we are born with. It is limited, and the quality of amount of this qi represents our basic constitution. Post-heaven or acquired qi, on the other hand, is derived from the foods we eat and the air that we breathe. The quality of post-heaven qi depends on our lifestyle habits, such as food quality, balance of emotions, physical exercise, and so on. So upon conception, kung ang vital energy or essence ng mga magulang natin ay good quality, upon birth, we have also a good body constitution. However, on the other hand, upon conception, weak ang energy ng parents natin, naturally, weak din ang body constitution natin upon birth. Okay po? And then, ang post-heaven qi naman or acquired energy ay galing yun sa food and air that we eat and breathe. Kung nutritious foods palagi ang kinakain natin at malinis ang hangin that we breathe, regular ang exercise natin at palaging balance ang emotions, hindi palaging galit, hindi palaging masaya o palaging sad or depressed, eventually, magkakaroon tayo ng good quality of qi kahit ipinanganak tayo with weak body constitution. Okay? However, kahit we have a good body constitution upon birth, kung hindi good ang lifestyle natin, halimbawa, palagi tayong kumakain ng junk foods, excessive drinking of alcohol, gumamit pa tayo ng prohibited drugs, tapos doon pa tayo nakatira sa polluted areas, eventually, our body qi will be weakened. Okay? Now, just as one cannot choose their parents, one cannot choose their congenital energy or their energy at birth. But their acquired energy can be influenced after birth, and because of that, vital energy can be increased somewhat. This vital energy seems to increase and decrease with our reproductive energy during our lifetime. A woman's life is made of 7 yearly cycles, and the peak of her vital energy coincides with her reproductive energy. So now as we have here a graph. Now, as we can see in the graph, at age 7, a woman gradually increases her vital energy until it reaches to the peak, which is 28 years old. And after that age, her vital energy gradually decreases. After 49, a woman enters a menopause and her vital energy is then just sufficient for her to carry on the rest of her living functions. So, kailangan advise natin mga anak natin na dapat mag-asawa sila before age 28 para ipamana nila ang strong vital energy nila sa kanilang magiging mga anak. Kasi after 28 years, ang years old ang babae, may mag-decrease na po ang vital energy niya. Okay? So now sa lalaki naman, a man's life is made of 8 yearly cycles. At age 8, the vital energy of a man gradually increases until it reaches at the peak at age 40. Then after 40 years old, dahan-dahan din hihina ang vital energy niya until age 64. Kaya mali ang kasabihan sa mga lalaki na life begins at 40. Kasi nasa peak na ang vital energy ng lalaki at age 40. After 40 years old, hina na ang energy. So, para sa mga lalaki din, kung mag-asawa na naman sila, better to get married not later than 40 years old. Para mabigyan pa niya ng good quality of essence ang anak niya. Okay po? So, these graphs show the best ages for a man and a woman who have children from the child's vital energy point of view. Yun lang po. Hope it helps, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Teresita. We now call once again Ma'am Mildred for the Zangfu organs.
Hello po sa lahat ulit. So, our topic is about Zangfu organs. Zangfu organs, so referred to as bowels and viscera. So, play a central role in TCM. Ito po yung Zangfu, mga partner organs niya. So, sa wood, start po tayo sa wood, si liver po yan. And then, sa fire, ang kanyang emotion is anger. Yung kanina pong na-discuss natin. Then, sa fire, ang kanyang organ ay si heart. Then, emotion is joy. Sa earth, si spleen ang kanyang organ. Then, ang kanyang emotion is anxiety. Then, si metal, lungs ang kanyang organ. Grief ang kanyang emotion. Then, si water, si kidney ang kanyang organ. So, fear ang kanyang emotion. Ito pong Zangfu organs na to, dapat po yung nagno-nourish. So, pag ganun po yung direction, yung blue nakita po ninyo, nourishing po yan, or mother and son relationship, or Sheng cycle, yung iba pa pong term. Yan. So, si water, nino-nourish niya si wood. Para mabuhay, kailangan may tubig. Si wood. Yan, didiligan mo. Si wood, nagiging fire. Kasi pag sinunog mo. Si fire, pag sinunog mo si wood, nagkakaroon ng abu. Yun po yung si earth. Then si earth, pag tumatagal po, nagkakaroon na siya ng yung tumitigas na, nagiging metal. So po yun po yung relationship Then Zangfu organs. Understanding is based on physiology and pathology of inner organs. So most important system for differentiation and treatment of disease and TCM. So theory and system of Zangfu organ in TCM is based on functional ideas and contrast to Western medicine. So function po pag sa TCM kasi pag sa Western structurally. So structure. So Zangfu organ, the inner landscape of our body. Picture. So function of various organ in Western medicine and Chinese medicine overlap in some areas but have significant difference in other areas. So ito po yun yung mga drawing natin. Okay. Stand in reciprocal relationship to each other and must be viewed in the interplay with each other. Ito pong cycle na to ay nasa gitna po ang spleen stomach. Yan. Kasi ito po yung pinanggagalingan ng ating blood eh. Siya yung lahat ng diyan ang gagaling yung energy natin, yung blood. Pag kumain tayo, pumunta muna kay spleen stomach. Then siya ang nagno-nori sa lahat ng organ. Okay, cosmological cycle po yun. Okay. Main function of Sang Fu organ is to assimilate and transform energies of earth, food, and of heaven, air. So, ay makikita po lahat natin yung mga yung mga drawings. So, bawat isa pong organ ay may mga iba-ibang function upang tayo ay manatiling malusog. Okay. So, sang organ produce and store the substances. Ito pong mga sang. Siya po yung nag-store ng mga substance na kailangan ng ating katawan. Yung four organs naman po, decompose food and conveys waste. So, yung mga hindi na natin kailangan, yung mga four organs naman na nag-excrete. Ayan. Siya pong taga-excrete. So, it might be helpful to forget everything we have ever learned about the human body and its organ in order to appreciate the ideas of TCM. So, para may overview po tayo, yun yung gawain ng mga organs sa TCM. Okay. So, bones, brains, ears are assigned to kidney. So, tandaan po natin pag related po sa bones, ang problem ng ating pasyente, brain and ears, siya po ay under ni kidney. Si kidney ang ating ititreat pag nakita natin yun. Therefore, osteoporosis can be malfunction of kidneys. Kidneys stand in close contact with lungs. Consequently, asthma can have its cause in lungs as well as in kidneys. Kasi may relationship sila po dun sa cycle kanina, di ba na pinakita natin, siyang cycle, silang and kidney, siyang cycle, mother and son relationship. Pwedeng nagkakaroon siya ng asthma dahil mahina ang kanyang kidney. Kaya kahit tinitreat mo yung lungs, kung hindi mo pinapalakas yung kidney, hindi mawawala yung kanyang asthma. Some organs in their pattern shape the personality and the structure of a human being in a fascinating way. Yan, malaki po yung role, yung pagkatao natin sa ating mga internal organ. Kasi ina-affect nito yung mismong behavior ng tao. Tingnan po natin sa ating mga next na pag-aaral. Makikita natin anong effect. Okay, thank you po.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Mildred. We now go to Baguio to listen to Ma'am Vina Pascua. Good afternoon po, Ma'am Vina, for
Good afternoon po, Doc.
Meridian Theory.
So, good afternoon po, Doctor. Good afternoon po sa lahat. Lamp Basics po, Acupuncture Channels. Acupuncture meridians o kaya channels. An acupuncture channel is a pathway of energy that flows and connects related points of an organs. It is also referred to as a meridian. Acupuncture channels run at all levels of depth in the body, connecting us from interior to exterior, up to down, left to right. Thus, the channels make the body a connected entity. So, dito nakikita natin yung skin, point, yung fat, muscle, bone, at saka meridian. The acupuncture channel flows in the region between the skin and the muscles and communicates with the surface of the skin at an acupuncture point. Although the longitudinal path of the meridians is fixed. Ang label po ng lalim is variable depending po sa amount ng yang and qi sa meridian. So dito nakikita natin yung point becomes larger in di ko masyado mabasa. So the level of depth or kaya yung lalim ng channel can ascend if the energy in the channel becomes more yang or in warm pag mainit po yung panahon. It can descend deeper, closer to the bone. If the yang energy ng channel is reduced or if it weather gets cooler, the acupuncture point itself will become larger o kaya lumiliit siya, depende po sa proximity of the channel to the skin. Pag mainit naman po yung panahon or when suffering from a yang disease, yung energy po sa meridian will ascend and sometimes approach the skin. And in some cases, one can see a skin reaction along the line of the meridians. Needless to say that in this case, yung acupuncture points po will be very large and even an incompetent acupuncturist will be able to locate the points correctly. But in winter, or when yung yang energy po ay ng meridians is very low in a yin disease, the meridian sinks deep in the muscles and the points become small and difficult to reach. So mahirap abutin. So that sometimes the needles do not work and we have to use moxibustion to bring up the yang qi. Acupuncture points. Ang acupuncture points po is our point of access to an acupuncture meridian. It is extremely important po na maabot po yung point na yon and to manipulate the needle at the point in order to create a needle sensation. Yung point po na ito, which is now open, can perform myriads of powerful energy changes by sending energies to and from between other meridians and itself, thereby bringing about a state of balance sa mga meridians and in many parts of the body. At importante po that the needle itself is the hand that holds the needle. Ang acupuncture po is based on empirical knowledge, and many practitioners tend to talk their way out with a very complicated explanation kung paano po mag-perform ng energy balancing and what happens at each point and so on. But finally, they still have to needle the patient. Yung ilang points po given with a good needle sensation are much more effective than many points given without feeling for both doctor and patient. At dapat hindi matakot to get your hands dirty and have some needles yourself. It will make a world of a difference in the treatment na mai-provide mo sa patients. Pag sinabi po natin that experience makes one perfect, we do not mean only the experience of needling others, but also yung experience po of being at the opposite end of the needle. Tandaan po natin, acupuncture is an energy balancing treatment. It is not an energy creating therapy. So by needling an acupuncture point, possible po to shift the energy from one to another meridian or organ of the body. It is not possible to send energy from the exterior to the interior of the body, although possible po to eliminate heat or stagnant blood from inside to out of the body. Some energy, however, nagflow po from the doctor to patient or vice versa. Depende po kung saan yung energy ay mas malakas. Yung energy flows naturally from where it is high to where it is low. Pag yung therapist po has a poor immune system at saka yung pasyente po has an excess state of energy, it is usual for the therapist to catch the symptoms of the patient. Pag yung treatment po is carried out in a healthy environment and climate, yung patient po feels greatly improved after treatment sessions. So, importante po na health din yung acupuncturist. Therefore, it is necessary to create a pleasant environment in our treatment rooms in a way that strengthens healing, and it's important to look after our health and not work when we are ill. Using a white overcoat in pastel colors sa mga rooms ay nagre-reflect po na the harmful energies away and nagpro-protect po both the doctor and the patients. So yin and yang organs of the body and related meridians. Meron pong 12 main meridians sa ating katawan which govern the function of all the other organs at saka yung tissues. Yung meridians po are the energy pathways of these organs. The energy, blood, and fluid in these organs ay dumadaloy po through the meridians in the deep levels. And as mentioned, communicate with the skin surface through acupuncture points. The acupuncture points are our access sa meridians and through the meridians to the organs themselves. Merong points po all along the meridians, though which we can send energy from one to the other organs at ito ay nagbabalance ng energy between them. So dito sa box nakikita natin yung yin, solid organs, yung heart, lung, liver, kidney, spleen, pericardium. Ang coupled organs, yung yin-yang, hollow organs, yung heart, yang hollow organs, small intestines, large intestine, gallbladder, urinary bladder, stomach, at saka triple warmer. Meron pong 12 meridians related to the 12 main organs and ang daloy po ay bilaterally as mirror images. Therefore, we have 12 on each side of the body, 24 in all. They are called the regular meridians. The regular meridians are each connected in the exterior through a collateral or a bridge meridian sa coupled meridians. At saka meron pong 8 extra meridians naman which govern the general yin and yang energies of the body. So may 12 regular meridians, may 8 pong extra meridians at saka 15 collaterals. Acupuncture treatment is mainly performed through needling points on the meridians. Yung flow po ng energy in the meridians is very orderly. And when this order is disturbed, yung nagmamanifest po in diseases and symptoms. So yan lang po. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you sa lahat.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Rina. We continue with the last topic for today, still on bleeding. And we shall discuss blood in the stools. The darker the blood, the higher the site of bleeding in the alimentary canal. Thus, if you see very dark blood in the stools, this may indicate bleeding from the stomach. If you see fresh red blood, this denotes bleeding from the intestines. The most common conditions to cause blood in the stools are peptic ulcer, diverticulitis, ulcerative colitis, and carcinoma of the bowel. Any patient older than 40 who regularly presents with blood in the stools should undergo a thorough Western diagnosis to exclude the possibility of carcinoma of the bowel. One must also exclude the most obvious cause of the bleeding, hemorrhoids. From the Chinese point of view, the color of the blood is interpreted in terms of the underlying pattern rather than the site of bleeding. Fresh red blood or fresh but slightly dark blood indicates that the bleeding is caused by blood heat. Fresh red and very profuse blood indicates Qi deficiency. Very dark blood indicates stasis of blood. So we shall discuss the following patterns: damp heat in the intestines, Qi and blood stagnation, smooth stomach and spleen deficiency. Damp heat in the intestines. Clinical manifestations: fresh blood, either bright red or slightly dark red in the stools, loose and frequent stools with mucus, abdominal pain. Tongue is red with a sticky yellow coating on the root with red spots. Pulse, slippery, rapid. Treatment principle: clear heat, resolve dampness, stop bleeding. Points: spleen 9, spleen 6, Ren 9, bladder 22, Ren 10, stomach 25, bladder 25, bladder 20, stomach 37, LI 11, and spleen 10. We do reinforcing method on bladder 20, then even method on all the others. Spleen 9, spleen 6, Ren 9, and bladder 22 will help resolve damp heat from the lower burner. Ren 10 helps to resolve dampness in the lower burner. Stomach 25 and bladder 25, which are the front mu and back shu points of the large intestine respectively, clear heat, resolve dampness, and stop diarrhea. Bladder 20 tonifies the spleen to resolve dampness. Stomach 37 stops chronic diarrhea. LI 11 and spleen 10 cool the blood and stop bleeding. LI 11 also resolves damp heat from the large intestine. Qi and blood stagnation. Clinical manifestations: chronic bleeding in the stools with very dark blood, abdominal distension and pain, constipation, depression, and irritability. Tongue is purple, pulse choppy, wiry, or firm. Treatment principle: move the Qi, eliminate stagnation, invigorate blood, eliminate stasis, stop bleeding. Points: spleen 4, pericardium 6, kidney 14, stomach 25, spleen 10, liver 3, and spleen 8, all with even method. Spleen 4 and pericardium 6 regulate the penetrating vessel or the chongmai, which is called the sea of blood. It invigorates blood in the intestines and regulates the blood connecting channels. Kidney 14 invigorates blood. Stomach 25 regulates the intestines. Spleen 10 and liver 3 invigorate blood. Spleen 8 stops the bleeding. And finally, we have stomach and spleen deficiency. Clinical manifestations: profuse fresh blood in the stools, slight abdominal pain, pale face, exhaustion, depression, loose and frequent stools with mucus. Tongue is pale with swollen sides. Pulse is weak. Treatment principle: strengthen the spleen, warm the center, stop bleeding. Points: Ren 12, bladder 20, bladder 21, stomach 36, Ren 6, stomach 25, spleen 6, stomach 37, spleen 10, and do 20. All points, reinforcing method except for spleen 10, which should be needled with even method. Now let's explain the points. Ren 12, bladder 20, bladder 21, and stomach 36 will tonify the stomach and spleen. Ren 6 and stomach 25 tonify Qi and stop diarrhea. Moxa on ginger may be used on Ren 6. Spleen 6 resolves dampness from the lower burner. Stomach 37 stops chronic diarrhea. Spleen 10 stops bleeding. Do 20 with direct moxa raises the chi. Now let's go to a little case history. 60-year-old man had been suffering from blood in the stools for 2 years. He had no abdominal pain and his bowel movements were loose and very frequent. Blood was fresh red and hemorrhoids were excluded as a cause of bleeding. He felt very tired most of the time and felt the cold very much. Even in summertime on a hot day when he came for his consultation, he had a jumper and a jacket on. His tongue was pale and swollen and had a white sticky coating. His pulse was generally weak, especially so on the right middle portion. Diagnosis: spleen-yang deficiency with some internal cold, and the bleeding is due to spleen qi not holding blood. Treatment principle: tonify and warm spleen-yang and expel cold, and the patient was treated only with herbs. Thank you very much for your attention.